The night shift at the burger joint was in full swing. Well, as full swing as a dying burger place could manage. One waitress seemed to be enough, and even she was bored with nothing to do. We were just waiting for Doug to show his face. My coworker Nick was getting a head start. Already had 10 burgers sizzling on the grill. A little proactive there, aren't we? I said. Nick didn't enjoy speaking to me, so he kept his mouth shut and focused on his work. Ding ding! The doorbell rang out. The lights flickered. Nick had his headphones in, blaring some total rockin' song as he cooked enough cheeseburgers for a picnic. I fired up my grill, ready for the big show. The man waltzed in with the confident gait of a much thinner man, while his massive stomach swung from side to side. He had a speaker attached to his khakis, which played a classic tuba waltz that matched his walking speed. He slapped the waitress's ass. She was mad at first, but then melted as she turned and recognized Douglas. Hey, Doug. He was cool, but then instantly pissed. Did I say you could speak, bitch? He slapped her. He put some spec on Tough Doug's name. You know what makes me fucking tick, bitch? When I got some lousy street hoe acting like she's my top bitch. I'll fucking kill you. The waitress assumed a role of subservience to Douglas, head down. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. He stared at her up close, mouth breathing. Predator and prey roles affirmed. He backed away. You know you my ride or die bitch. The waitress smiled, and then resumed her duties. Psych, Douglas said as he waved his hand over his fedora. With the cool and slow swagger of an obese man, he walked towards a booth. Hey yo, 2 wimps in the back, get me a couple burgers. He pointed at me as he sat down, unwrapping a Ziploc bag he had hidden in his overcoat. You guessed it, crushed burger. He wolfed it down in a quick bite. I looked away in disgust. Nick was almost done with his first batch, so he went to tend to the fries. I fucking hate this guy, I said under my breath. We had to put up with him 3 times a day. The greaseball ate burgers for every meal, 30 at a time, sometimes more, all for free. We were losing money supplying meat to this clown. Thanks, Fatso. This fatty was literally running us out of the burger biz, that fat fuck. I put a 10th patty on the grill and reached for more. My blood ran cold as my fingers hit plastic. We were fresh out. Knowing how much this pig would eat, I pressed the call button to my side. A pathetic little horn rang out in the back. Our oily little manager, Mr. Bun. Rushed out. What? What's the problem? Nick was handling the fry oil without care, rocking out to his cool song. Mr. Bun, we're out of patties. His eyes went wide and he turned pale. Oh God, no. I raised an eyebrow. Just tell him to come back tomorrow. Mr. Bun bit his nails and looked lost in worry. No, you don't understand. It's not that simple. He looked out of the chef window. Doug was laser locked onto us. We looked away. My manager gathered himself and then entered the dining area. Like the waitress, Mr. Bun always swooned over Tough Doug whenever he showed his face. I didn't get it. Maybe Mr. Bun was some kind of slave for Doug's cock. He approached the booth, talking in a hushed tone to Douglas. Things seemed to be tense. Well, just buy more, playa, the manager was pleading with the fat man. Sir, the logistics just ain't working out. It's impossible to sustain you eating 30 free burgers for every meal. Could you pay for some of them? Douglas pursed his lips, annoyed. His face darkened and completely shifted. It seemed to indent slightly into his head and adopt the features of an infant. Mr. Bun, you know what the contract entails. My manager gulped and rubbed his arm as he looked at the ground. I know, Doug. I know. I'm sorry for my tone. What should I do? Douglas widened his beady little eyes. They began to protrude from his skull on little flesh rods. If you can only provide 20 burgers tonight and not fulfill your sacred oath, I'll have something else in addition to my required meal. With a nasty gurgle, Doug hit his chest and his jaw unhinged and began opening like a snake. I accept my fate. I'll be Tough Doug's meal, Mr. Bun said. The jaw opened to an impossible size. My manager began to put his head inside the mouth. 1,000 fangs protruded from everywhere inside Fat Doug's inhuman maw. His facial features were beginning to become flush with his head, giving off the look of some very large and veiny egg. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Tough Doug wasn't a fly pimp. He was a monster, or some kind of Martian. His mouth began to close over my manager. Doug's voice rang out somehow. "You fool. You have only fueled my hunger." My manager went wide-eyed, no longer comfortable with his fate, and attempted to quickly climb back out. The jaws snapped shut. "Mr. Bunn!" To my right, I heard Nate clang something around. Oh, fuck! That idiot had soaked his entire head and torso with molten grease. I sighed. God damn it, not now, Nate. The hot oil easily went right through his shirt, cloth becoming one with skin. I looked back out the cook window and saw Doug sitting and staring at me. Mr. Bunn was nowhere to be found. I looked back to Nate, who was still screaming, and saw that he was already forming a unified chin-to-chest burn victim turkey neck thing. Nate, I gotta say, total bad timing right now. He hit the ground with a thud, writhing in pain while looking like he was doing a fresh new dance move. One of his kicking legs hit the fry cooker hard, which knocked another oil basket onto his face. Nate, god damn it! I could see his skin melting into a puddle on the floor as his muffled screams began to die while his body seized. "Oh, you dunce, I said. "How am I gonna deal with this freaky monster alone now?" Nate responded with a shoulder seize and a sick gurgle. "We got the quarterback of eating a lot of burgers out there, and today the stadium's closed." Nate would have to sort his own mess out. I looked back through the window. The lights were completely off. I could barely make out beady little eyes. They began to move closer. I gulped. The eyes were almost into the light now. Doug, stay back." 2 eyes on fleshy stems entered the window. A growl rang out from the dining area. The lights went out completely. Something rushed away with the speed of an insect, clanging dishes to the ground. "Doug, we're closed. You gotta go." A sick laugh rang out from the vents. I fumbled around for my phone. In the darkness, a jingle began to play. It was that fat man's silly tuba song, coming from everywhere. I turned on my light and checked out my surroundings. Nate's horrible and melted body was pinned to the wall, growing into it. Some sort of ritual symbol was painted in blood on the surface behind him. It was a burger. Nate completely morphed into the wall, skin and veins spreading out into the structure. A rumbling took over the whole restaurant. In the distance, I heard screams and sirens and the laughter of Tough Doug.